If you don't have a website right now, you will by the end of this video. We're going to be using the absolute best and easiest drag and drop page builder, which is completely free and lets you easily control your website yourself. It can look like any of these professionally designed websites, and all it takes is about 20 minutes to get it done. I'm going to show you how to get your website address, a super cheap hosting plan, how to get website inspiration so you're not starting from scratch, how to get some help from AI in writing your site and to get absolutely beautiful customized images like these, and how to customize your new site to look however you want it to look. So the first thing we need to get you set up with is your website address, like yourbusinessname.com, and an affordable hosting plan. So if you follow my link below in the description, or if you just go to wesmcdowell.com/hosting, we can get started. Okay, so once you follow that link, you're gonna wind up on a page like this. It may look a little different for you by the time you get to it, I don't know. But the thing you wanna pay attention to here is the price. You're getting a discount definitely off of the regular price. This is actually really good, $199 a month. Normally my discount is $295 a month, so if you see this price, I would go ahead and jump on that. But I'm gonna click on Get Started Now. And now you choose your plan. For almost all of you starting out, basic is gonna be good enough. So I'm gonna click on that and we'll skip this. Okay, so now they're asking you if you already have a web address, like a yourbusinessname.com. If you already have one, you'd pop it in here and click next. If not, and you want to buy one, you definitely need one. And the cool thing is when you use that code I gave you, this is free. This is included. Normally, I think it's about 20 bucks a year, but completely free with that code. So you would just type in the name of the .com or .site, .net, whatever it is you want. I recommend .com. It's easiest to remember. But you type in whatever you want here. So I would just see if that's available by clicking next. And it looks like it is. If it's not, you just have to go back and try it again. So you're just going to fill out all these fields, choose your service term. I'm just going to leave it at 12 months for now. And you are getting your free domain name here and a free SSL certificate, which is good for security. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck all of these add-ons. And we've already had the coupon code by the link, so we don't need that. And then you just fill in all this information, and I'm going to uncheck that and then click on Submit. Okay, so the purchase went through and it took about a minute just to build out WordPress, and we wound up right here. So we're going to skip over all of this stuff and we're just going to go up to Exit to WordPress and click on Exit. Okay, so here we are inside of the WordPress dashboard for the first time. Now, don't be freaked out if it looks a little different for you, but this should all be the same on the left sidebar. You'd have, posts, media pages, all that good stuff. And the first thing they're saying to us is our site is currently displaying a coming soon page. So this is like what it looks like right now. If someone goes to your site, it just says coming soon. And no matter what you build on it, that's what it's going to look like. It's basically behind a curtain right now. So in order to remove that curtain, we're just going to go down here and click on Launch Your Site. Cool, it looks like it's online now. So that way, when we go to check our work, we'll actually see what other people are seeing. Okay, so now it is time to have some fun and get building. The thing we need to do first is we need to activate the plugin that's going to help us do that. Now, a plugin for WordPress is simply a piece of code that extends the functionality of our WordPress site. It lets us do more with it. So we're going to go under Plugins, Add New Plugin, and we're going to search for Starter Templates. And here it is right here. We're going to click on Install Now, and then on Activate. And then we're going to click on Classic Starter Templates. AI Website Builder is not ready for prime time yet. I've played around with it. I definitely recommend going this route still. So we're going to click on Build with Templates, and we're going to choose Elementor. Now here we have all of these different layouts that we can get started with. And you'll notice there's a lot of different looks, they organize a lot of them by, very specific business types, which is kind of weird because you're going to end up replacing all the content anyway. 9 times out of 10, the theme that I like to start with is just a nice blank slate for any business is Hope right over here. So I'm going to click on Hope. And this is what it looks like. Of course, we're going to change all the content, all the images. We can add new section blocks. We can delete some. It's all super customizable, but it comes with all these pages, and they're asking us to upload a logo right now. We're not going to do that yet. We'll do it later. So we're going to click on Skip and Continue. And if you already have a color scheme in mind, you can click on one of these. It more or less changes the button color and just some of the accents on the page. So whatever looks best to you, go with that. You can always change it later. It's no big deal. And they've got these font combinations, which look kind of nice too. So if you're not a designer, I might just go with one of these. They're pretty thought out for you. So I'm just going to stick with what they gave us to begin with though. And I'll click on continue. You don't need to fill any of this out. Just click on submit and build my website. So right now it's just going to take a few minutes to add all of the different pages and the images and all that good stuff so we can get building. But in the meantime, now is a good time to take a look at some inspiration sites so we can see what kind of website look we like and what you might want to emulate. So it's not about copying, but it's about looking and seeing like, okay, what colors are they using? What are the overall graphic treatments? What does the site feel like and look like? So once you find something that you like, you can really look to it as a guide for all your color choices, all your image choices, all that good stuff. So we are here at reloom.io/showcase. It's one of my favorite places to go for website inspiration. Another good place to go for a lot of inspiration is called themeforest.net. This is just a bunch of WordPress themes. I would just go under WordPress. You can go under corporate or creative, whatever you want, and just kind of start browsing and just look for anything that catches your eye, right? And these previews are pretty small, but you'll start to see things that you gravitate toward more than others. And I found one a little earlier that I think would be a great inspiration point for our website right here. It's just nice and simple, clean, and I think it's a nice look that we can definitely use for our own website. So whatever inspiration point you choose, it doesn't matter. All we're doing here is I'm showing you how you can apply the inspiration you're finding to your own website. So let's go back now with knowing this is our inspiration site. Let's go back here and we are seeing that our website is complete. We can click on view your website. So this is what we're starting from. Nice and clean. Now all we have to do to get editing is go up to edit with Elementor. So Elementor is the page builder that we're going to use to do all of our customizing, adding anything we need for our site. So the way it works is it's obviously split into two sections. I call this the stage area over here on the right, and the sidebar over here is what contains all of the different individual elements that you can drag and drop into place, and then you come over here and you can customize it. I'm just going to go ahead and right click delete to get rid of that. And with text, you would just click it over here and then you edit it over here. So if you want to change this headline just to a short headline right here, that's how you do it. And then we can change the style by going here. We can edit everything from the color of the text to the font to the weight of the font. So if we wanted a bolder font, we can do that. So let's let our inspiration site be our guide here. Like let's try to emulate this. So basically it's a nice bold font and I'm going to try to recreate that. And you'll also see we have a subheadline here. So we're going to add those elements and we're going to style our button like this button. So let's go back over. And while we're still under style, we'll keep the headline color the same because it's white is what we're looking for. But to change the color, you just click here. You'd pick any color you want to. That's how that works, pretty easy. But now let's go to typography. Here's where we're going to choose our font. So the font that this one is using is called Kula. So we will get that right here. Now you do have access to literally thousands of Google fonts with this. So it's pretty powerful. Easy to get overwhelmed though with the choices. So that's why sometimes it's just good to stick with the choices they give you. But just want to show you how to control absolutely everything here. So our inspiration site also had a bold font. So let's see what that looks like. And it was also all uppercase. So we go to transform and we can do uppercase. We can do capitalize, which will do the first letter of each word. But yeah, let's go back up to uppercase because that is what we had here. Actually, this is a little bolder even. So let's see what other choices we have. Yeah, we have extra bold and we have black. So yeah, let's stick with that. We can make it bigger if we want to do that. So now remember the inspiration site had a subheadline here. How do we add that? Well, just go up to the grid right up here, and we're going to scroll down. We can either use a heading or a text editor. I'm going to use a heading here. I'm going to drag it right underneath because technically a subheadline here is still a headline. So to change the text, we're going to just do it right here. And obviously it's hard to read, right? Because it's like black on a dark background. So we're going to go to Style, Text Color. We're going to choose white. We're going to do typography. We're going to choose the same Kula font. Bump the size down a bit, and we'll make it a little fatter. Let's look at bold. I think that looks all right. Now let's go ahead and we're going to try to mimic this button too. The color, so as you can see, it has no rounded edges. It's just a rectangle. So let's go ahead and replicate that. So we're just going to click on the button. And obviously if you want to change the text, you would do it right here where it says text. And we can change things like our text color. If we wanted that to be black, we could do that. I'm just going to leave it on white though. And then background type. So you can either have a solid color like we have now, or you can have a gradient where you choose two different colors. But we're just going to use the solid color. We'll go back here and you would just kind of try to eyeball it to get as close as possible to your inspiration. I happen to have the color code right here though. So I'm just going to use that. And then remember how the corners were not rounded. So the way you change that, you can do a lot of things here. You can make it all the way around it. So we're going to border radius. You can up that value to where it's kind of like a pill shape, or you can put it on 0 to where it's completely squared off. Now you'll notice here, this is super small, but like there's more space on the bottom than on the top. The way we can deal with that is down here where it says padding. So it's basically 18 pixels on the top, between the words and the top, and then there's 18 on the bottom. But for some reason, this font isn't playing nice with that. So let's go ahead and make it just fewer pixels on the bottom to where it looks good to the eye. To me, that looks a lot more even. Okay, so now going back to our inspiration, you'll notice everything's left aligned over here. It's not centered, and there's quite a bit of empty space over here. So how do we achieve something like that? Well, first of all, let's go ahead and left align everything. So we'll choose our headline. And under Style, we'll do Alignment Left. This one's already done that way, so we don't have to do that. Then our button, we'll choose that, and we'll go under Content and Alignment Left. And by the way, if you ever want to get a true preview of what it's going to look like without all these extra elements, you can collapse the sidebar by clicking this little arrow right here. And now we see what it's actually going to look like, including with the header and everything. So we still need to give it a lot more empty space over here. We need to push everything over here. And for me, there's a little too much space between all these elements, right? So let's go ahead and fix that first. We're going to choose our headline. Then under Style, I'll do typography. This might fix it. If we go down to line height and we just kind of shorten that up, yeah, right away that brings it a little closer, and I think that looks a lot nicer. And if we want to get the button closer to this, we'll choose our subheadline. We'll go to Style, Typography, and we'll do the same thing down in line height. Okay, so let's check this out. I think that looks a lot tighter, a lot nicer. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to choose the section as a whole, and we're going to go up to Advanced. Now don't worry about that. It's actually not that complicated. So you can see what we have in terms of padding here. So again, padding is the amount of space between an element and the edge. So right here, we have 100 pixels on top, 20 to the right, 20 to the left, 0 on bottom. So let's just mess around with these values a bit. And I'm actually going to switch this from pixels to percent. And on top, I'm going to give it 20%. On the right, I'm going to give it 45%. So that's what's going to give us all this empty space over here, which is what we wanted. But now it's all the way over here. So on the left, I'm just going to give it 5% over here. And obviously we have to deal with this line height here. So we're just going to click on the headline, Style, Typography, and we're just going to bump the line height up to something that looks good. Okay, cool. So this is now looking a little bit more like that. So now we have to add in our background image. Now there's a lot of places you can go to get it. We're going to click the section as a whole, and we'll go to Style. And right here, if you click on Choose Image, they have all of these free stock images you can use, and you can search for them. So I don't know, type in like something like office. You know, we've got all these images here, or you could pay for stock images. You could take images yourself, or my new favorite way of getting lots of images for free is to go to ChatGPT. Now you do have to be using version 4, but you would just type in something here like, something like this. And then because it has to go in this format, I would definitely specify that it needs to be horizontal orientation. So you would click here and you would just see what it comes up with for you. Okay, so check this out. This is what it came up with. This looks pretty great. Actually looks better than almost any stock photo that you'd be able to find. So you just right click and save image as, save it to your computer, and then we can add it right to our website. So all we do is just choose image, and then you go to upload images and you would just drag that file right here. I already happen to have it loaded up here. We just click on select. And there it is. So let's take a look at what we've got so far and compare it against our inspiration site right here. The big thing I notice is like this is in kind of a box, right? It's not all the way across. So we're not going to really be able to get it exactly like this, but it's just inspiration. It's not about copying the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose the section, and then under style, let's go to border. And border type solid. This is just going to put a border around the whole thing. We'll choose white, and then we can start playing around with like how big it is, like something like this. I think this still gives more or less the same effect. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. So the first thing I want to do before we move on to the rest of the page, we want to click on update. We want to make sure we're saving our work as we go. Huge bummer when you do a lot of work and then it just kind of craps out on you and then you're left with nothing. So we already know how to take what's there in a given section and edit it, right? You click on it, edit it over here. So I don't really want to waste too much more time on that. I'm going to show you how you can add anything you want. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to clear out all these sections and start from scratch. So just click the X on each of these. Actually, I'll leave this one. I think we can work with that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and start adding sections as we need them. So let's say that you have something on your inspiration site or on any other website. You see a section that you think you want to kind of replicate. So let's start with this one right here. The way we would go about this is we're going to click right where we want that section to go. In this case, we'd want it to be between this section and this section. We'll click on the plus icon, and we're going to start by clicking on the S icon right here and go to blocks. So it comes with all of these different content blocks that you can choose between, and they will all add up to the kind of site you need. There's so many of these, they're so customizable, and yeah, they look a little boring right now. That's just because there's no backgrounds on them. It's all black and white. But once you start adding your own stuff to it, it starts to come to life. So let's check out. So we've got a little image over here. We've got kind of a counter over here. Let's find something similar to that. So you can filter through all these blocks by going up here where it says all. You've got all these different kind of categories. This one says statistics. I think that's what we're looking for. So let's see what we can find. I feel like this right here is pretty close. We would just have to add our own image over here, and I'll show you how to do that. So once you find the block you want, you click on it, you click on import block, and that's it. It's right there. So I'm going to close out of this. So let's go ahead and get rid of all this stuff over here, because remember there was an image, not text. Right click, delete. Again, and we'll just do that for every single element over here. And then you just go over here and you'd find an image widget and you would drag it right here. And then you would choose the image you want. You know, it could be anything you want. This is another one I got from ChatGPT. Or let me show you something else that's even cooler. So I'm going to right click and delete this. We already know how to add an image now. What about if you wanted to put a video here? Like you have a cool About Us video or something like that. Just grab the video widget, drag that on over. Now what you want to do here if you're doing a video is you don't want to self-host it, meaning you don't just want to have a video file that's on your website. It can be really slow. What you want to do is upload it to YouTube first, and then we're just going to embed it here. So you upload it to YouTube, you grab the URL of that video, and then you go up here, make sure YouTube is chosen, and then you just paste in the link to that video. And okay, now we've got these counters over here. Let's try to replicate the style over here. So it's purple. These lines are definitely thinner than what we've got now, but I don't know how close we're going to actually be able to get, but we can get pretty close. So we're just going to go one by one, clicking these, and we'll go to content. So this is where you'd put in something like, you know, dollars saved or whatever, whatever it's going to be, right? And the percentage, you would do this. And, you know, let's say it's 59%, then you have to change that down here. And actually this is dollars, right? So $59. And then let's go up to style, and we're going to change the color to our purple color. You can either find it yourself, or I happen to have the code here, so I'm just going to pop that in. And here's a time saver for you, by the way. Whenever you have a color that you know you're going to want to reuse, just click the little plus icon, and that saves it for you. So next time you can just click on the little globe icon, and it's there for you to use. Okay, so now let's work with the text here. So I'm going to keep the inner text color white. That reads the best, but typography, we're going to replace it with our font. We probably want to make it a little bolder, right? It's hard to read like that. We might even make it a tiny bit larger. And then for our title style, we're going to change that to black to match our inspiration site. We're going to go to typography, choose our right font, semi-bold, and we'll transform it to uppercase. And then I think the size is a little large, so I'm just going to make it a bit smaller. And I think I'm actually going to make it bold, not semi-bold. And if I want that text to be a little closer to the bar, I would just do line height and I would make it a little smaller. Okay, so rather than having to do that over again for all of these, here's a cool trick. All you got to do is right click on this, copy, then right click, paste style, and one more time. Then of course you just go through each of these and change the content to match what you need it to be. And I'm seeing that the background color here is actually not really what we want it to be. It's kind of a weird green-gray color. So let me just go up here, choose the section, and we'll go up to style. And I'm just going to choose white. Cool, so let's check it out. Okay, so this looks pretty good. What do we have next? We have gallery section with a headline. So how are we going to recreate something like this? Let's just go back to our site. We'll expand this back out. So the first thing we need to do is click on the plus sign where we want to put our new section. Now, we already know how to find and modify blocks, right? So there may be a time though where one of the blocks doesn't really fit what you need and you need to create something completely from scratch. Really easy to do that too. All we need to do is click on the plus sign instead of the S, and then we choose our column structure. But the new way Elementor likes to do this is actually with these, they call these containers. It's basically kind of more free form. You don't have to choose the columns. If you choose this one, elements you put in will go from left to right. If you choose this one, items you drag in will go from top to bottom. So for us, we need a headline on top and a gallery below it. So we're going to choose the one with the down arrow. And we'll go right up here to the grid. We'll choose a heading first. We'll put that there. And we'll style it up how we want. We'll type in, and we'll go up to style. Typography, you know how to do this by now. We're changing the font. We're changing the weight to black here, and we're changing it to all uppercase. Now for the gallery. So we're going to go back up here, and you're going to see there's all these different widgets. Basic ones are free to use. Pro ones are not. You would need Elementor Pro to be able to use any of these. But there's still a lot of things you can use for free to get you in through most situations. I'm just going to search for gallery, basic gallery right here. We'll drag it right on under here. But of course, it's an empty gallery. We haven't put anything in it yet. So the way we add images to it is we go over here under image gallery. We click on the plus icon. And I've got all these images that are ready to use already. So just click on those, create new gallery. And of course, you can reorder them around as you want to. And when you have them in the order you want, you just click on Insert Gallery. Okay, so here it is, and it does not look great, does it? So what we've got here on our inspiration site is 3 columns with no border or no spacing between any of them. So I'll show you how we can achieve that. First of all, these are all really small because image resolution here, it's saying thumbnail. We want to bump this all the way up to full. And we can change columns to a number of columns you want. In our case, it's going to be 3. And I feel like this looks pretty good, but if we want to go with the no border look, all we need to do is go up to Style and then Custom Spacing and just drop this down to 0. Cool. And then of course we just want to change the background to pure white again. So we'll choose the section, Style, Classic, White. And from here, we're just going to go back and we're going to see what other sections we've got. We've got this simple text section and we've got this section right here. So let's just go back and quickly add those in. So for our text section, I think this is going to be super easy just to do it from scratch. We'll just bring our widget, we'll style it. And then for the next section, let's go ahead and bring a block in. We'll change the image and we'll change the text. And then we'll just style the button to match as well. And then we're going to end the page with a nice call to action section. And again, we want it to match more or less the vibe of our inspiration site. So we'll choose like maybe this kind of background color and this like magenta color for the button. So let's go back here. And the way we change it from an image to a color is also easy. We just choose the section under style where it says choose image. We're just going to click the little trash can and get rid of the image altogether. And we'll just replace it with a solid color. So we'll click right here, and I've got our color code right here. And again, if we want to save it, we click the plus icon to save it for us. And we change our styles here. And in this case, this one has kind of a border around it. So the way you get rid of that is just go to border type and just choose none. Okay, so let's check out our work so far on our home page. It's looking pretty good, and it definitely feels like our inspiration site, right? There's one really more important thing we need to do here though before we can wrap up the homepage. We need to check and make sure it looks good on all of your mobile devices too, because more than half of traffic is probably going to be coming to your website from a smartphone. So the way we check that is we go down to this little responsive mode icon. It's a little laptop and a phone. We click it, then we click on the mobile device to see what it's going to look like. So then let's go all the way to the top and check it out. The good news is most of the blocks that it comes with are going to be mostly thought out for mobile already. So the work to do should be fairly minimal, but when you start changing the fonts and the sizing of the fonts, things can go a little sideways for mobile. But it's really easy to tweak it to make it look good for mobile as well. So all we're going to do is we're going to go from top to bottom, just make sure everything looks as good as it possibly can. So right now, I think like the headline and the subheadline are way too close to each other in terms of size. So let's go ahead and choose the headline first. We'll go to style. And if we go to typography, if we go to size, you'll notice that there's this little mobile icon next to it. What that means is whatever change we make here only applies to mobile. So it will not change what we've done on desktop. That'll look exactly the same. So we can bump up this text size to look good on mobile. I think something like that looks good. And then we'll tweak the line height to be a little less. Something more like that looks good to me. And I think the subheadline actually looks good, but if it's really long and you want to change the sizing of it, go for it. And going down, we got the video. This all looks good. See our work. So we have all the gallery items have gone from side by side to just stacked one on top of the other. Now, okay, so here we run into an instance of no space on the sides. And there's a lot of empty space here. So let's fix these problems one by one. Let's go ahead and choose this section where this is. And under advanced, we have padding. We have 90 on top, 90 on bottom. If we get rid of that padding, that's going to give us a lot less empty space here. So let's see what that's going to look like. Okay, so that just gave us nothing all the way around. So we need to give it a little bit on top. Let's give it maybe 30 on top. See what that looks like. Maybe 50, and then maybe 20 on the right, 20 on the left. And I would probably also make this text a lot smaller for mobile. So typography, size, let's just bump it down to something like that. And to me, that looks much more appropriate for mobile. And again, whenever you want to get a true view of what it's going to look like, just collapse the sidebar. And now we can see what it's really going to look like. This all looks good. This looks too big to me. So let's just go ahead and click there. Again, this is all just going to be about looking at it and deciding for yourself what's too big, what's too close to something else, and just fixing it. So typography, and I'm just going to make it maybe a little something more like that. And then I'm going to bump this down as well. And line height, I'm just going to tighten it. So with these tweaks, I'm thinking this looks pretty good. Okay, so let's exit out of the responsive mode. And let's go ahead and click on update. Okay, so that is how you edit the home page. So the way you're going to get to other pages and edit them. So if you remember, this template kit that we got, it brought in all of these other pages, and you're going to edit them the same way you did the homepage. The way you get to them to start editing them, we're just going to click on the little preview changes. It's a little eyeball icon down here. Then we'll go to the About Us page, and you'll click Edit with Elementor. And you're going to do it all the exact same way. You change the backgrounds, you change the text. You can get rid of the sections, add new sections. You already know how to do all that, so we're not going to go through step by step. The one thing I do need to show you now, though, is how to change the header up top. So this is obviously not your logo. Maybe you don't have a need for a button here. You want to change a few things. So the way you're going to do that is a little different than how we've been editing everything else. So we're going to go up to this icon right up here, and we're going to click on Exit. And we're just going to click on the little WordPress icon over here. And we're going to go down to where it says Appearance and then Customize. And we'll go to the header builder. So the way this works is we have a site title and logo, that's this, primary menu, that's this, and a button, obviously that's that. So you can definitely edit the button by clicking on it, editing the text, editing the link, go to design, you change the colors, all that good stuff. It's pretty intuitive, but let's just say you don't want it, you would just exit out and get rid of it altogether. But for the logo, you'll click on that. And you'll notice here it says this logo is set from the transparent header. This is what's known as a transparent header. It's basically over the top of the image behind it. So to be able to change this, we actually have to click on Customize Transparent Header and then Change Image. So the way this is generally going to work best is if it is kind of a really light logo that can go on top of it, or if your background's really light, it should be dark, right? It just has to be visible over the top of whatever it is the background image is showing. So you just drag and drop your logo file right here and choose Image. And we can see that it's really small, so we can bump up the logo width right here to whatever looks good. And you'll see it's really close to this border because remember we added this border here. So if that's the case, all you would want to do is just click this little gear right here. And then you just go to Design. And we need to give it a little bit more padding here. So I'm just going to unlink these values. And on the left, let's see what 30 looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we'll do the same thing on the right just for consistency. And if we want to make this text bolder so it's easier to read, we'll just click on Primary Menu, Design, and we'll actually change the font too, because this does not match our font. So let's just go down to Font. And by the way, you can change all your colors here, no problem. We'll go to Menu Font, choose the same one. We can also access to Google Fonts here. And then font weight, let's do bold. Cool. Okay, so this is all looking pretty good. So that's physically creating a website, but what about the content? You know that the right website can help you turn more of today's cold website visitors into tomorrow's clients. But how? I'm saving a seat for you in my free masterclass where I'm just gonna tell you everything your website needs to include, say, and what you really have to leave out if you wanna automate sales and leads with your website. So head over to wesmcdowell.com/training or just follow the link below in the description to get immediate access. This is the stuff that's gonna take your website from here to here. All you gotta do is apply it. So just go to wesmcdowell.com/training and I'm gonna send you your access right away.